updates and R2.1 and general UE5 updates. And if you want to follow the chat, today we will be using the chat that is inside the Atlas Amphitheater. So make sure to chat in there so we can read as we speak. And as always, here on stage, I have Michael today with me. How are you doing, Michael?
I
What do you
don't
think about the
know.
agenda?
I don't know if I'm in the right place, but I heard if I attended this, I would get some free XP for this thing called Never Alone. Is that true?
You are in the right place, sir. You are in the right place.
Excellent. Well, feeling better already, guys. Honestly, feeling phenomenal today. Really excited about the lineup that we have and the updates that we're about to provide. Welcome everyone to Town Hall number 39, and let's get rolling, Santi.
Yeah, it's always great to have a town hall. I know that not a lot of people was expecting to have one town hall so soon, but we told you guys, we're moving fast here at Star Atlas. So, yeah, and we also will be joined by a very special guest later today, CPO at Star Atlas, Danny Floyd. So stay tuned for that. Let's
He's
get started, Michael.
the VVIP. We haven't heard from Danny in a while now. I'm super excited. Love the guy. He's absolutely crushing it. In fact, the whole team is. But really appreciate Danny joining us today. I'm sure everyone's going to love hearing what he has to say and and seeing some of the beautiful content that we're about to share today.
For sure, for sure. It's been over 9 months since we had Danny on a town hall, so definitely a special occasion every time we can have him here on stage. So
100%.
now, Michael, let's get started. Let's talk a little bit about Never Alone first. So for everyone who doesn't know what Never Alone is our social campaign that gives you exclusive loot and other very juicy Star Atlas items. So we partner with Silly to do that, and you can find all the information in the Never Alone FAQ channel here. Michael, what are your thoughts so far about Never Alone? Are there any key metrics that we want to highlight here in the town hall?
There are. There definitely are. And I don't want to keep this dry. So let me do what I normally do, which is take us on a little meandering journey through the internal thinking of the team here at Automata and just reiterate what the philosophy going into this year was. That was one of the pivots, if you will, was to continue to distill the product releases into smaller and smaller versions, specifically with the intention of being able to release more content more frequently and then more frequently update that content. Now, on top of that, we had been ideating around this idea of a social campaign, a method of being able to incorporate not only engagement and interactions with our gaming products, but also create a form of virality and reward our existing community members who are already talking so much about Star Atlas and sharing all of this content, which we're sincerely appreciative of, by the way. But we wanted to tie all of these things together, given how many product releases we have anticipated through the course of this year. And there are many across multiple product lines, and tie it into the gaming products, and also tie that social element together, and thus the idea of Never Alone was conceived. And so we do have some great numbers here to kind of demonstrate the traction and success of that at its early phase. And Santi, I'll be happy to get into those, but overall, I would just say that we are pleasantly surprised with the performance of both Escape Velocity and Never Alone, given we knew that these were we knew that Escape Velocity specifically was a fairly minor or limited feature set, I would say, although incredibly powerful from the technology innovation lens and what we were able to do with this Cartesian coordinate system and movement action fully on chain. I won't go down the rabbit hole of why that philosophy, why on chain development, and why that philosophy is so important to us internally right now. But nevertheless, suffice to say, we think that both of these have been a phenomenal success out of the gate, and we're very much looking forward to where Never Alone goes throughout the course of the year. And big kudos to our writing team, Jose in particular, Matt Medney, and really the whole RevOps team as well for working collaboratively on this Never Alone campaign and bringing a fun story It gets you engaged in content, tells you a little bit of the narrative and lore background of Star Atlas, and it gives you an opportunity to get engaged in Star Atlas gameplay at this phase and still earn some achievements along the way. So you're all the earliest explorers. So congratulations to you all. And yeah, Santi, with that, we can run
Yeah,
into
man.
some numbers.
Just from a community side, it's cool to have a product like this because you basically just engage with all the products that we have and get loot and get rewarded. So also you're helping Sand recover his memories. That's very important. So there's a lot of lore content in there. And yeah, huge shout out to Jose again. He has been crushing it. Let's get into the numbers, Michael, if you want.
Yeah. So we just pulled together a few metrics that we've been tracking. This was, one of the big objectives for us was not only to test the tech, test the gameplay, but also from a marketing and data collection lens, we wanted to analyze the tools that we've developed. A lot of these were built internally or otherwise are integrated across multiple platforms, and so we pulled some numbers together that we thought were meaningful to share, and I'll just kind of run through those. With the first of those being total quest claims that have been completed. We've seen 42,000 quests completed so far across the community. We've also had 3,700 unique questers participating in this program, which is really cool. I mean, these good numbers again, given where we're at, and really the last thing here, as the first mission of Never Alone does introduce the engagement in escape velocity. What we've seen in escape velocity attributed specifically to Never Alone is at least 550,000 warp and scan transactions. Now, again, the warps are entirely on-chain. The scan system is technically off-chain, though it does use wallet verification. The scans do not count as Solana transactions, but we'll share some more details on these numbers when we get into escape velocity. But again, 550,000 transactions or combined warps and scan transactions on Solana as a direct result of Never Alone.
That's awesome. And just here, Michael, I wanted to give another shout out to our BI team as well. They have been working really hard to get those scripts, those verifications going. And also to Dom and Arthur, since they have been doing a lot of manual work here on the manual verification quests. So I just wanted to make sure to get that in.
100%.
Cool.
We've told Dom and Arthur they're not allowed to sleep until all of the quests are approved.
Right. Yeah. That's that's the policy.
Yeah, yeah.
I
And
think we have something for the audience, Michael, right?
yeah, we do. So speaking of the Never Alone Quest XP, um, hopefully you guys stick around for the whole show. You didn't come just for this part of it, but we did. But we are sharing the code for the town hall participation right now. Santi, why don't you tell them what it is?
It's sip of water 426 altogether, lower no caps. So
Dominic just posted it in the chat there. Sip of
altogether,
water.
sip of water 426.
And thanks for the reminder, Santi. I do have my glass of water here, so uh, looking
Stay
good,
hydrated.
feeling
It's important.
hydrated. And the last thing to share on that code, and Santi, you can confirm for me, but this will be good for 24 hours.
Hmm.
So is this 2:30 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow is when the code will not no longer work? Is that right?
Yeah, you have 24 hours to get that in on Sealy. Correct. After
Perfect.
that, it's gone. It's a time limited quest. So after that, it's not possible to get that in. So make sure to get the XP now. Cool. Anything else here on Never Alone, Michael, that you want to cover?
Nope, that's all we'll cover for now. A lot more coming throughout the course of the year. For anyone that is new, this is going to be a 4 mission game system that is going to take place over the remainder of the year, concluding in December. So stick around with us. There is loot associated with each of the missions. There's a collective loot, kind of an exotic system if you combine these memories. Towards the end of the year, and there's also a DAC competition. If you're not a member of a DAC, I'm sure there's a lot out here in attendance today that are actively recruiting and very passionate diehard Star Atlas enthusiast, and you can probably find a nice home here and a nice community that aligns with your personal thinking and gameplay style. So I'll close there, and I think we can move on to escape velocity here.
Totally. Let's do it. Just before, Michael, again, I wanted to clarify that we are using to follow the chat. If you want to type, we are using the chat that is in the Atlas Amphitheater. We are not using the one that is called Town Hall. We use the one that it's here in the Atlas Amphitheater. So you join the amphitheater at the top right, you will see the chat. So make sure to get that to be there. But now, yeah, Michael, let's move to escape velocity. I think everyone knows that we released the Star Atlas Golden Era movement test called escape velocity. Um, so yeah, Michael, any comments before we hop to the stats?
Um, just one thing really quickly, just because I saw a question in the amphitheater chat. Dom, maybe we can post a link to the Never Alone campaign page and the Zeely active quest page for people in case they're not familiar or don't know how to find it yet. So
Yeah.
we'll do that. Back to escape velocity. I guess I just want to reiterate, and I kind of mentioned this in the opening comment, but escape velocity for us is not we don't envision this as a gaming product per se. This was really a tech demo and test environment for us. It was an opportunity to stress test one of our on-chain systems, and that was movement. Um, elaborating a bit more, again, in case there's anyone new in the audience that isn't very familiar with Star Atlas, our ethos is to build as much of the game logic on Solana as possible, which essentially uses Solana as our backend game engine. This does have enormous long-term benefits in the ability for people to compose their own applications, their dApps, their products, their services, companies that integrate seamlessly and permissionlessly into our gaming ecosystem itself. Star Atlas, while it's this phenomenal gaming concept, is also bigger than that. It is a gaming platform, and our vision is to create a world where people can develop out all of their own products and build within the universe of Star Atlas as seamlessly as possible. So coming in the future in Escape Velocity, we also have things like your player profile, your character progression, the inventory management systems, combat systems, resource extraction, crafting systems. These are all being executed directly on chain, and this is absolutely pioneering work that the team is doing. We're really excited about getting these online. All of that said, Escape Velocity, we did turn this into a bit of a gamified experience in that people are able to move around this map by processing Solana transactions, scan the sectors that they are currently present in, and have the opportunity to discover loot from across the board. And this was developed kind of as a scavenger hunt of sorts, but no cost to the player. Just come in and try it out, and get an opportunity to find some Star Atlas loot that you can use in our upcoming releases.
Yeah. And for it being just a test, as you said, Michael, we had quite incredible results, honestly. Like people seem to be very engaged with the product, even if it's literally the first thing we ever launched of our on-chain logic.
Exactly. I'm going to jump into some of the numbers here behind it just to fortify your statement there, which is that this has been very successful for us beyond our expectations. But I guess quickly, just to note that this has created tangential benefits for us, specifically within the Solana ecosystem. I don't know if we kicked this off. Maybe you do, Santi, but we started using the only possible on Solana phrase around the time we launched Escape Velocity, and I've seen that used quite a bit in the ecosystem. But I've had personal outreach from a number of projects within the ecosystem itself looking to do something with us. A lot of support from the Solana Foundation and the Solana Labs team themselves, and so it just feels good. It feels good to get their support and to hear their excitement about what we're building, and it reinforces that this approach we're taking on chain gaming has real potential.
Yeah, and I don't know if we started that trend, Michael, but I think we are clearly one of the best examples of only possible on Solana. I mean, in real-time movement on chain, only possible on Solana.
Yeah, and let me just I'll jump right into the numbers now, Santi, just again to demonstrate that. So, top line metrics that we're looking at is how many transactions have been processed as a result of escape velocity to date, which launched 1 month ago, actually, exactly, April 26th, and there were over 20 million successful transactions on Solana. That is an absolutely huge number for 1 month. This came from 7,500 unique wallets connected. While we don't have a user registration process whatsoever, and that's again core to our ethos. What we do look at are unique wallet connects as a way of identifying individual users, even if a user can connect with multiple wallets. That's difficult to distinguish, but over 7,500 wallets have connected to Escape Velocity since launch. There have been 25 million scans for loot over this month, and there's two metrics here that I think are really cool. One is that Star Atlas, actually, this is just escape velocity, but escape velocity has made up 3% of the daily transaction volume. This is a rough average since inception, and we did have a peak value of Solana transactions of 8%, and that was during a brew that you guys hosted, Santi.
Yeah, man, it was incredible. I think that was totally kudos to the community, because that was a coordinated effort between the community members, guilds, coordination. It was awesome. And during that period, we basically said, okay, guys, let's go. Let's everyone go to the bottom left of the map. And we all started moving at the same time. And during that moment, we reached over 8% of the total Solana transactions, which is madness. And it shows the power of the community. So
Definitely.
yeah, incredible.
And while I do fully anticipate some changes to the structure of movement, partially informed by this movement test itself, I again will just say this is one program of probably 8 different programs that we have coming online, and that's in addition to the myriad of programs that we're running for our marketplace, which we built from the ground up, the DAO itself, faction fleet, faction claims. I think we'll have 12 to 15 programs running on Solana by the end of the year, and I fully anticipate that our consumption of transaction volume of the network is only going to increase.
Yep.
And I don't know if I'm going out of order here, Santi, but I'm actively reading the chat as we go here. Um, and I am notorious for leaking. Stay tuned for an announcement next week about an upcoming Surge event. So if you guys aren't aware of the Surge events, the econ team does some great work at modifying the probability tables to improve your chances of finding a variety of higher end loot, and we do have something coming next week for that. So,
Yeah.
and then let me just close here with some social media stats and metrics that we've been tracking. I would say this is it's difficult to attribute this specifically to escape velocity. I think a combination of escape velocity, never alone, and some of the other announcements that we've made. But just say since the middle part, end of April, we've seen a 3x increase in our growth rate. And this is measured as unique daily connected wallets to the ecosystem. So we're seeing new people come into the ecosystem, which is great. One of our objectives this year, and why I think it's very beneficial that we've been having this positive impact on Solana, is that we can target specifically. Continue to target the what I would call crypto native, or at least crypto familiar user, and specifically the Solana user. Now, one of the metrics that was shared with me previously from our BI team is that of all of the wallets on Solana, only 1% of those hold a Star Atlas asset. And so to me, what that demonstrates is not a failure. That demonstrates an opportunity to reach a significantly bigger audience within this rapidly growing ecosystem that is Solana. So before we even talk about going to get Ethereum users or getting other protocol users or even getting the traditional gamer, which I know a lot of you are, and what we're building in this AAA game is what attracts you to this. But we also know that there's a huge opportunity in front of us directly in Solana, and we are spending a lot of our time this year collaborating with them directly to further our exposure to that audience. So it's great that we've seen a 3x increase there. Our average daily mentions across social media have 7x'd, 7 times increase. Our social engagement score and sentiment score is at a 17-month high. This I find somewhat surprising. So, this goes all the way back to the beginning of 2022. We're actually at the highest scores we've been. And the last note here is that April 2023 mentions were the highest we've seen since January of 2022. So I big credit again to the team, big credit to all of you out there in the community who are proactively engaged in this, supporting us and helping spread the message and vision of Star Atlas.
Yeah, man. Social score at the 17-month high is actually quite wild. It's quite wild. And I
Yeah.
wanted to give a special mention here to Clara from our social media team. We know there's a lot to communicate about Star Atlas, a lot of products that we have, a lot of launches. So some W's in the chat for Clara. I don't even know how she keeps track of everything. So some W's in the chat for Clara, please.
Claire's doing a phenomenal job, and she did transition her role into director of social production. So congrats on that. That was a couple of months ago, but yeah, she's doing great work.
Love to see the W's in the chat. That's awesome. Cool. Michael, I have a follow-up to all this. So let's move from stats and let's get a little bit more into product. So what did we learn from this launch that can directly impact future development for Sage?
I think so. What we'll do here, Santi, is just focus a little bit on the engineering. Again, this was comprehensively valuable for us on economics, on the tech, on the gameplay, on data collection itself, and informing our decisions moving forward. But specifically on the engineering side, we were able to get a really great sense of what the scalability of the system looks like. So, how many users our systems are capable of handling. Um, and in fact, I already know there have been a number of improvements on the infrastructure side, ensuring greater stability. I think for those of you that have been participating since the beginning, we know that there was some downtime, there were some server resets. We discovered a memory leak issue that wasn't a security risk, but did lead to instability in the function of escape velocity. That has since all been smoothed out. This is really, really important, guys, because while we don't intend for escape velocity to be here for a long time, these exact same systems and pieces of infrastructure are what Sage is going to be operating on and what integrates directly into functionality with Star Atlas in Unreal Engine. So it's very critical that we get these systems right. Thank you again for joining us in the test and helping us stress test these systems out, because it's led to improvements that should lead to more enjoyable and stable gameplay in the future. There's some other notes here from the engineering team. We managed to find several issues in our server systems that led to slowdowns. That's kind of what I was just referring to. A lot of those have been fixed now. I think just the simple fact that we were able to identify specifically what they are, even if those things aren't solved yet, is a big win. And we've also discovered some limitations with external services that we were using to power our system. So a lot of what we build is kind of the unfortunate reality. A lot of what we build has to be built entirely in-house as a custom solution, because nobody's done what we're doing before. To whatever extent possible, we do try to leverage those external services to help expedite the development process itself. But you can think of this as a highly complex machine here that needs to be orchestrated beautifully, and this testing process has allowed us to figure out where weak points were and improve on those. So overall, again, big win for us on this release. Hopefully people have enjoyed the content, and a lot more to come.
Yeah, and again, we we wouldn't be able to test all this and discover new things and improve on our tech if it wasn't for the Star Atlas community helping to test all this. So thank you, everyone. Just wanted to get that in as well. So yeah, Michael, I choose also another thing that I want to say is I know I'm giving a lot of shout outs, but I also wanted to give a shout out to the builders who created programs that help track escape velocity, loot, and stats. So shout out to School and Bones, to So Long from the Unseen, to Coexist, and to Star Atlas Italia. Thank you guys for building products that help the community and help Star Atlas become a bigger ecosystem. So, and I'm sure I'm missing a lot of projects here and of products. So I apologize if we missed anyone. We really appreciate you. And anything else, Michael, before we continue moving?
And that's not all, Santi. Just back on the Surge event, as I said, keep an eye out for the announcement coming from us. We have not one but two next week. Two Surge events next week. So everyone get excited.
Okay, there you have it. Michael has a new role at Star Atlas. He's the CLO, Chief League Officer, and he's officially assuming that role now. So
Is that
congratulations, Michael.
is that
Live
a new
promotion.
is that a new role or is that one that I've held since inception?
I think you had it forever, man, but now we officialize it.
Okay, got it.
Cool. So, Michael, we just learned everything about the escape velocity, the success, some stats, improvements. But uh, just for everyone to be on the same page, what's coming next in for Sage?
Right. So the next gameplay iterative release, or I guess a test environment, I should probably position it as, is an extraction and crafting loop. So you'll see some considerable improvement to the UI itself, but also the mechanics that you're engaged in. I know there is a question out there in the community about whether or not this is going to be using real assets, and I just want to reassure everyone that yes, this next version of Sage will be using the fleet management program. And so your ships that you own are going to be usable in Sage. And in fact, that will be the only way to access the resource extraction and crafting gameplay loop that's coming next. This is also really exciting for the econ team, for me in particular, seeing the continuous evolution of the economics in game and the ability now very soon for users to start actively engaging in the crafting system that leads to things like R4 as well as other resources that can be refined. Um, Also, would note here we are tying this together with a separate loot table, so there will be ways to earn loot from the next version coming out from Sage as well, and that loot table has largely been crafted, but it's going to function different from Escape Velocity. I, I guess I would say this. I probably shouldn't, but I would say that it's going to be more difficult. It's going to be more involved to earn loot in the next version. So maybe take advantage of escape velocity while it's around. But because it doesn't get too much easier than clicking a scan function and getting yourself a nice ship. But I think it's going to be a lot more fun because it just pulls a lot more of the real gaming dynamics into what Sage is ultimately going to become. And yeah, I'm really excited about sharing some of the UI content. I don't think we're doing any of that today, are we, Santi?
For Sage, you said?
Yes, yes. Putting you on the
No,
spot.
we don't have any content for Sage and no
Okay,
visuals today. Thank you for
okay.
putting me on the spot, though. I appreciate it.
Well, I've seen it and it looks amazing and really excited about getting it out. You guys will all be seeing it soon. I guess one of the biggest lifts for us right now on the Sage side is making sure we get the end-to-end communication layer working. For people that have been around, you've heard us talk about systems like Fuzzy Lemur, like Starcom. That's the middleware MMO game server layer. It connects the blockchain to our front ends. So making sure that those systems are all functioning seamlessly, they're performant, and we're able to manage scale of users in game is very important. Um, I actually I should have asked Mo about this beforehand, but I imagine in the next release you're also going to see other players on the map. So in Escape Velocity, you only see your ships, although you can see based on the heat map where other ships are, as well as the visual indicator in the bottom right of one of those sectors. But I believe you'll be able to see everyone's ships in this next version of Sage as well. One quick two quick points here, actually. So one is that this is not a mining loop as we define it. This is not mining and crafting. This won't be using your claim stakes. We still have faction claims for that. In terms of leaks, we have a little change coming to that that's going to be proposed as well. I won't share too much more, but keep your eyes out and your ears open for an announcement from us very soon about some changes to the R4 economy. But it doesn't use claim stakes. You'll still be using faction claims to produce R4. What this modal gameplay is what we call extraction and crafting. Excuse me. And so ships are you're actually you're consuming ammunition to destroy asteroids, and you're harvesting the materials from those asteroids. And then you'll be taking those materials using crafting tables, and through that process, creating these refined materials, which again compound into your ability to do things like earn loot through participation. I kind of
Cool.
combined those two things into one, but not using claim stakes, and that this is an extraction and crafting loop.
Cool. I will let you get the sip of water and tell everyone that the code for silly is sip of water 4 to 6, guys. So if you want to claim the XP, sip of water 4 to 6 is the code. Um,
I am
anything
I
else,
am
Michael, here on Sage?
I am furiously looking like Furiosa's image there, which is the raccoon guzzling that pint of water.
Oh man, cool man. Anything else on Sage before we continue moving?
That's it on Sage. We do have some exciting updates on the DAO here as well, and then really the highlight of the show, I think, as great as all of these updates are, highlight of the show coming after that. So should we jump into some DAO content?
Let's do it, Michael, for sure.
Okay. And I do think we have an image here to share on the DAO. Is that right?
Yeah, let's put Dom on the spot. Let's see if he's look at that, fast. Nice.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dom. So what we're sharing here is a bit of the upcoming roadmap for how the DAO is going to operate, decentralized autonomous organization. This is the voice, the governance, the power to the people of Star Atlas. This is highly anticipated. People have been waiting for full DAO proposal and voting functionality to come online. We obviously have the Polis locker there, the Atlas locker there, both with their individual economic benefits, whether that's through earning tokens through participation or discounts on marketplace fees, things of that nature. But very excited to confirm that the DAO is the very next release after our upcoming release. So coming soon, PM. But what I do want to clarify here, and we've said this in the past, but I just want to reinforce this again. The first version of the DAO will be PIP 1. That's the Polis Improvement Proposal. PIP 1 will be coming from the Automata team. We'll be submitting that directly to the DAO. And through that process, that is where we engage in discourse, conversation, debate, and this outlines the framework of how this decentralized governance system will operate going into the future. It ratifies things like the Star Atlas Foundation as the legal jurisdictional representation acting on behalf of DAO participants or Polis stakeholders. It also introduces the Star Atlas Constitution and again the framework for how things should operate. Now, what we believe is that this conversation is going to take some time. This is effectively the Declaration of Independence, and we need to bring everyone together to get into consensus, to get into alignment on how we want this new form of governance to operate. And so through what users will be able to do is submit public comments. They'll be able to respond to the proposal itself. There will be live debate sessions, and then ultimately not right away, but going into the future as it goes through this process of approval and ratification, the on-chain voting mechanism will come online, and that will be based on your PVP. Your Polis voting power will determine your weight in the vote on what gets approved, what doesn't get approved, and how this thing operates in the future. After all of that, once we get through the initial PIP or PIPs, if there are subcomponents to this, then the function of user submitted proposals will come online. So just want to state this emphatically. You will not be able to submit your own proposal at inception. It is us submitting the proposal on behalf of the DAO to open the discussion. User generated proposals will come in the future. So I guess that's it on the DAO, but it is coming. It is coming soon. Again, you guys know we're not sharing dates right at the moment, but it is the very next release following, and I don't want to spoil anything, but following the conversation today.
Steady, steady, Michael. Keep it steady. But I'm super excited for the debate sessions that we're going to hold. That's going to be awesome. That's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, we're shaping the future of the Star Atlas DAO. As you said, Michael, a declaration of independence. I think that's incredible. Frame it like that.
That's right.
Cool. Again, just asking, just in case, is there anything else, Michael, here on the DAO before we move to the next topic?
Just a big thank you to the team over there as well. BCM, Mark Jackson, Jeff Wagner, Nick Lopez. I'm sorry if I'm missing anyone, but team's been doing incredible work. I'm extremely excited about the progress that they've been making, and yeah, great work to the DAO team. I know this is really a critical piece of infrastructure for the way that this ecosystem will operate, not only in the near future, but in the perpetual future that we envision here behind Star Atlas. So thanks again to that team. And yeah, without further ado, Santi, I think we move along in the agenda.
Yeah, let's move. Now we're moving to Showroom R2.1 and UEFI updates. That's why we have Danny on stage. But before we hop on the interview and the talk with Danny, we have a really cool video that we want to show you guys. So Dominic Bain, please.
Get hyped, guys. This is
Guys,
massive.
this is
Let's go.
Well, it gives me the chills, Michael.
Yeah. Before Danny starts, just a big thank you to James and the Vert Paint team as well for producing that. And that one came in hot in the last minute, but man, was it worth it?
Yeah, I'm going rogue and unmuting. I actually almost cried when I first saw this video. So
Absolute chills. Absolute chills. It's incredible, the quality. And that was the Pierce X6, guys. Insane. Like,
Yeah.
insane. So I think that's the perfect way to welcome our CPO, Chief Product Officer, Danny Floyd, to stage. How are you doing, Danny?
Hey, thanks, Santi. Yeah, man, I'm still a little taken aback too, because like Mike said, we just got that video in like just before this town hall, so I'm kind of still in awe how cool it looks.
It's incredible, Danny. It's incredible. Any comments you want to make? That's in game, right?
Oh yeah, that's totally in game. I forget about that question because almost everything we've shown in like feels like the past year has been all in game. So it's like, yeah, that's what we show these days. Is it's all totally in game. That's what it looks like. Pretty awesome. What's to me, what's so impressive is this is like setting a new industry standard as far as quality for like spaceships in game. I don't know if anyone caught the Unreal Engine 5.2 stuff where they showed the Rivian. It's like how they built that Rivian truck. It's like 70 million polys, right? It's like, oh, we're doing that for spaceships, which is even cooler. But I mean, yeah, it's the new kind of industry standard, and Unreal Engine 5 gives us the tools to do that. And like Mike said, yeah, shout out to Vert Paint. They put a lot of work into this ship. It's been kind of like our ship to push the fidelity as far as we possibly can, using every single trick that we possibly can out of this engine. And it shows. I mean, I don't even have to talk about it. Just watch the video. It's amazing.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you for sharing the video, Danny, for giving us the chance to share it here in the town hall. And guys in the audience, if you want to check it out again, it's on Twitter now. So make sure I just posted the link in the Atlas Amphitheater chat. Make sure to go give it some love, some retweets. It's crazy. So I just posted the link in case you want to see that again. But yeah. Danny, I'm happy to have you on stage. I think I said this like 10 times, but it's good to
Sorry.
have you. It's yeah.
Santi, can I interrupt just really quickly?
Please go for it.
I never ask this, but the Star Atlas Twitter just posted this video too. I'm just going to request, guys, help us share that tweet. If you have Twitter, post this out there. Like Danny said, this is driving the standards in the games industry. So please help us share that content. Anyway, back to you, Santi. Back to you, Dom.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, we just posted the link again in the Atlas Amphitheater, so go give it a retweet, guys. Some love, some comments, likes. I think it deserves it. You can tell there's a lot of effort behind that. So yeah. And Danny, this is not the only good news that you have for us today, right? How about we share the other news now?
Oh yeah, sure. So cool thing for next week. We plan to release Showroom R2.1 on June 1st. So
Awesome.
we're just cranking right now, crunching, the whole team's crunching to get, wrapping up a few little bugs here and there, but small things. Yeah, having fun playing it internally. But to me, this is kind of like a snapshot in development of where we're at. We actually had to cut out some things, but there's a lot of the things that we've been working on and keeping a little, quiet about. But it's time to come out and let everyone else jump in and take part in the development. I think that's one of the fun parts of developing with this community is now this release gets you all the ability to kind of see what we've been working on, get a peek behind the curtain, even though I try not to have too much of a curtain. But it's a game, so we want things to be fun and have some surprises, but also to reassure everyone that we're working incredibly hard.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Awesome. So we have a date, guys. The team is going through trying to fix some bugs and little changes as we speak. But it's June 1st, guys. You heard it here first on the
Oh.
town hall. So
Yep.
yeah. And Danny, let's what if we do like a quick recap on what people can expect from R2.1? We have a couple of videos here as well.
Yeah, I don't know how quick it'll be. There's a lot of stuff here, but
Yeah.
I'll just start from the top. We got a lot of stuff going. So one of the biggest things, and we still have to remember, this is, like I said, it's a snapshot of development. There's still optimization coming, but a lot of stuff is very playable. And so we want to get into your hands. We still don't have the full multiplayer backend, so it's still like P2P as it was before. There were some enhancements there, but just to manage expectations, there's still a lot you can do, and even so. And one of the biggest things is now every ship that's on the marketplace is flyable and shootable, and so that means you can get in and fly your ships if you own anything. Yeah, there's like 49 ships, and so like the last update we had 3, and so now we're going with 49, and yes, every single ship that's on the marketplace. So as I said, like some of this stuff is work in progress. You can see like the clay material on the envoy, for example. Yeah, hop in. There's a brand new HUD, as you can see. I don't know if you're shooting in this video, but yeah, you can see your loadout there in the bottom left. The weapons that you've got on board this default configuration. And yeah,
That's
it's
crazy.
feeling good. It's looking awesome. We totally reworked the physics of flight. Oh, we saw some jetpack too.
We
So-
spoiled the jetpack already.
Hey guys, so yeah, the flight has totally changed. We refined a lot of the cameras. There's still tiny little things you all notice, but if we want to get it out, we don't want to like hold back every single thing. So happy to help, or have your help in getting feedback on all the little things that will make things fun. And there's one more thing I want to say about that, but that's right. We can move on to the next one.
Yeah, Danny, just a quick recap here. You said 49 ships playable,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, that means
That's crazy.
everything. If you're asking about individual ships, it's a yes. There will be 3 very big ones that probably won't be flyable because nobody owns them, but they are technically flyable if someone were to purchase it.
Yeah. And
Danny,
what we saw there. Yeah,
are we
Michael, go.
accepting? Are we accepting offers for Titans right now? Is that what you're implying?
I'm just saying, it's playable in game now. So
Wait. So the Titans are playable in game right now.
yeah,
If someone owned one.
yeah. I was just flying the Super Phoenix yesterday, and it's just encompassing the entire showroom. It was hilarious. The C11 is yes. I've seen that question a few times. And it's a beast. Tank ship is a beast too. Like, crazy. But I don't
Awesome.
want to spoil too much. Yeah.
Yeah, and the video we saw is the Amway. We were flying the Amway. And
Yeah.
just to clarify again, like some of them are in clay state, right? Not
Yeah,
fully
so-
ready,
so
but fully
there's-
playable.
Several of them that have like more final looking materials and textures. You saw like the X6. So there's several of those that look almost final, and the rest this is something I was going to get into later, but we laying the groundwork for ships and their flight models, and so once we had that to a certain point, now we can just quickly add in all the ships, and every ship has got blockout models, and that's how we did some of the concepts and stuff. So we can bring those in. They're not optimized, but switching them on to Nanite, even though they're like 10 million polys, it's not the cleanest geometry. We can still use that model as a placeholder, and people can actually fly their ships and shoot each other. Actually,
Awesome. Awesome. And just for the community, we keep giving shout outs, but people in the team deserve it. So I wanted to give a huge shout out to Chip and the team. So if we can get some W's in the chat for Chip, they have been working really hard to get these ships to be flyable for everyone. So some W's, guys, for Chip and the team. It's been
Yeah.
massive progress.
Chip won't even play Destiny with me over the weekend because he's too busy working on the game. And by the way, I just want to comment. It's not that he's forced to. He's like, no, I'm having too much fun working on the game right now, so I'm just going to spend time on my weekend doing that.
Yeah,
That's
dude,
awesome.
it's a blast. Yeah, putting in this much effort, and we're at the point now where you put in a little effort and you see this big win in game. It's totally rewarding to keep adding to the project.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and the next point, like you said, you already kind of blew it in the first video, but jetpacks are in the base tier of just jetpack. So it's just a foot thruster, kind of see. And it's still a little placeholder VFX, but you can see the blends in between the motions, really refined now, and it's feeling great. It's very responsive. Yeah, I can't wait for you guys to play it. Actually, it totally changes the feel of the showroom. It adds a new dimension. It adds like better pacing. Here's another fun moment. I'll let the video. So that was one of the reasons for getting jetpacks in here is like, say, hey, you're flying a ship around and you get booted for some reason, blasted out, fall out, whatever. You got to get back up to it. The jetpack's the one way that you don't just get stranded. You got to go get another ship or something like that. These ships are also massive. Like, try bringing a thrift onto a large pad, and then you got to walk over to the ramp. So now you just boost on over. It makes things so much quicker. And then, like I said, this is the base tier. So we got the thruster, and then later on we have like some character progression and upgrading your character. We'll have additional upgrades that add like hand thrusters, and it's an extra boost to it, and cosmetics and fun things. So that's upcoming. But again, I can't wait for everyone to get their hands on it because it's really fun.
Yeah.
Danny, just a quick comment on the stamina. I don't know if we pointed that out at the bottom, but you don't have infinite jetpack.
Right. Yeah. So it's working on Splitgate for so long and having the jetpack always there. It got so used to it, and so the mechanics actually feel fairly similar for a reason because it really was fine tuned to perfection. I feel, and there's that bar there which helps you to. It becomes more skill based, like landing your spot. You know, you'll feel, but that's part of the upgrade too. So like if you have a higher tier foot thruster, a higher tier hand thruster, the stamina grows. And then a note with fall damage, these are smart thrusters too. So it'll sense if you reach the ground too quickly, and it'll do a little boost with your exosuit on, and it saves you from fall damage. So future magic.
Really nice.
In the
Cool.
future, do we all land on our feet like cats?
I mean, yeah, sure.
Can we take some
Full
time to
suit.
appreciate the ballad? How beautiful the ballad is. What a ship. What a ship. It's
Yeah,
a
you
community
get
favorite as well.
a nice view of how big the map has gotten to from that angle, and it's actually really fun to fly around and find all the different areas you can go now. But that's one of the fun things to discover in this release. We didn't prioritize HOTAS or HOSAS for this release. The gamepad has got a lot of love, so it's still technically doable, but we didn't put it in yet. Yeah.
Let's move to some next update.
Yeah. So the next one, talk about the train station really quick. I know it seems like kind of like an ancillary feature of the train station, but it's going to be absolutely necessary when we do like proper multiplayer. We don't want people to just be spawning in randomly, just appearing out of nowhere when joining these like these instances with a lot of people in them. And so the train serves a purpose where, say, if you're sitting at the arrival station and then the train like zips off to you, that would be an indicator, hey, somebody's coming in. So what you'll do is you'll queue in the lobby, and that means you're joining a train. So when you hop in the train in multiplayer, eventually you'll be taken through the track and get to the showroom. And then what's cool about too is you can open the door while it's traveling and just hop out in jetpack If you want to pick a specific place, the pros know where they're going. You don't have to just sit and wait for the train to finish. And then since it's not totally functional in this release, we still have it in there, and it's like just a little quick ride that you'll be able to play on. So go ahead and like test it out. You can open the doors and start it, and ride it to the origin in the tunnel, and then come back. And it's actually an experience all its own because of how big this map is and all the major volumes that you see. Like there's some like crowd stands and these big like cliff walls now, and just watching that go by, it's kind of jaw-dropping. It's a really fun experience. So even for that, like we kept it in here just so people can test it even before it's totally functional. So have fun with that.
Nice.
And the next item is the photographer career. So this one's an interesting thing because it's technically the first on-chain career path. It's not actually like on-chain like immediate rewards, but I'll explain how it's going to work. So the philosophy behind the game, all our products, is like if you put in energy, we want you to capture that energy and own it in some way. And we've already built some mechanics. So walking around, for example, we could at some point, whatever you're looking at, we can give you, somebody can offer you money to look at something. That's an energy that someone's putting into the game. With photo mode, we already have that working. It's a time drain. People like it, but it's a time drain. So how do we capture that energy that you put into it? So with photographer career, what we're doing is like if you go into your photo gallery now, you'll be able to publish and directly from the game, and it'll publish into a forum on the community Discord. And so we'll have like once a month or once every 2 weeks, I don't know if we figured it out yet, competition. So whoever's the winner of that competition, it'll post your public address, and it won't post your name. It just posts your public address and your photo. People will upvote it, and then once a month we'll mint that as a poster and send it to that wallet address. So no middleman there. We just send you all the inventory, and you can do whatever you want with it. Don't have to sell it, put it on the marketplace, whatever. But that would be the on-chain reward. So that's a cool step. It's the first on-chain thing that we're doing in Unreal. So it's pretty cool.
Awesome.
And next is the ground racing. So ground racing is only working like as a single player kind of thing right now with a leaderboard, same as before. But I said we've totally reworked the physics of like hover mode, and it's really fun. And it's the racetrack is pretty huge. There's a lot of things to play in it. So yeah, have fun playing with that, getting some leaderboard. I think the gates support up to extra small ships. So like Lobies and X4 ships in those class can run through the gates. And anything with hover mode.
Nice.
Actually,
And I heard, Danny, that you really like the lobby, right?
Oh, the Lobies come along so great. I think it's one of our iconic ships. You'll see it because it's kind of like the fun of having like a muscle car, but you're flying and you got guns and sounds crunchy, and it's got this cool like cockpit where you just looks like you're driving a car. It's really cool. I think people are going to really like it. Yeah, it's a beautiful ship.
Nice.
But yeah, the experience just playing the race is totally different than what we've had before. We also have a new air track. The current air track, or the one in R2 in the showroom, has been changed to fit the new landscape, and that's really fun too. So yeah, have fun with the new races. And then the dogfighting arena has been completely changed. Big improvement there visually, and with the new HUD and the
This is the old one we're showing, right, Danny? It's just
before after, you can see the massive change. So another big change about this is you see all the landing pads. Those are functional, and you can bring up any of the ships that fit on it into the dogfight and play the dogfight waves with any of those ships.
Flight
so
mode.
this is unfair. So people who have got like the bigger ships with stronger firepower will have an advantage, sure. But we wanted to also apply that as like a way to test the different ships, like what becomes the meta and what are people like using and having fun with. And so that's all part of the design. So don't worry if you can't compete with like an air bike versus a envoy or ERP or something like that, you know. So we want to gather those numbers. But anyway, it's a pretty map now. New lighting, new set, and everything's brand new. It looks great. And these landing pads, this you can kind of see everywhere. It's like this Armstrong environment set, and these are modular, so we can put them anywhere. Add as many pads as we want, different sizes that we want. So, and a quick look at the current state of the C9. It's still changing, obviously, but looks really cool to see it in scene there. So we just left it. Okay, cool. And then obviously the race has been updated for that same level. Next is the marketplace integration. Now, have all the functionality of the web marketplace. We did filter it to just ships, but now you can do everything right there in Unreal. It works great, and it's a pretty big innovation for Unreal-based games is to have this like total Web3 on-chain marketplace. So buy and sell, check your orders, and you can activate it anytime. You just hit I. It goes to an inventory tab, so it's filtered by what you own, but it has all the same functionality of the marketplace. So then just tab over to marketplace, and yeah, it's awesome. It's all native in UE5. A lot of work's been put into that, and totally integrated now, and it's beautiful. I think not even because it's like Web3, but it's one of the most beautiful in-game stores I've ever seen. Yeah, so looking forward to that. And
But someone just commented it and just made me think this is it was VB. It said Solana market in UE5. This is another first, right? World's first.
Oh yeah,
marketplace integration into Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah, and it's beefy. There's a lot of stuff in it. Team has done a great job. And then just a few more points. Now when you go into the main menu, you not only be able to change your character, but you'll be able to change your ship. So you'll see not all the ships, because not all ships look great right now. So we're just kind of showing the really nice ones. So if your wallet's connected, and then you can see the ships to choose from, and they'll set up in your background there. That also applies to, like, right now when you select a character, and that's the character you play in the game. So for stuff like dogfight, so you set up the ship and your character, and then you jump into dogfight or race or any future game modes that we do where you want a ship to just be right there. You're able to set it as your default ship, and it's a cool little lobby for yourself, and eventually be expanded. Yeah, so those are a lot of the big fun things. There are other things that I wanted to leave private that don't want to mention now, but just in general too, that we've been working. We have DLSS3 now in there, so anyone with an NVIDIA card will see some boosts there. It's working actually really nice. I like it. Yeah, we did general optimizations like material libraries. The H-slot systems now help with the world partition map, so it's like more of these. Like we had to convert the showroom to world partition, and now that allows like streaming of these big levels. It allows us to grow the level much bigger because it's all streaming open world. Like I said, you can go like 88 kilometers squared now. So that'll definitely support the entire MUD CSS at some point. And yeah, so there are things we are hiding behind experimental mode. So when you jump in now, you'll see an experimental mode toggle. So that will open up some maps that aren't done, but we want to get feedback from the community. Some modes that aren't totally done, but we want to, again, get feedback from the community and let people see what we see and to play around. And so now we have the flexibility to just dump a bunch of cool stuff behind experimental mode. And so that also prevents people from just coming in without any education. They don't click experimental mode. They'll be able to see the more nicer, like polished things. So I feel like the community here will want to see experimental mode, but it's an opt-in. Yeah, that's kind of all the big things. There's still big
Awesome.
things that you'll all see next week.
Yeah, Danny.
hands on it.
I wanted to tease a little bit with that, guys. There are surprises as well that we're not mentioning here. That we just don't want to spoil everything for everyone. Let me tease a little bit here. There are surprises, guys, that you literally don't even expect that are coming with 2.1. But that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Cool,
Yeah.
Danny. Anything else before moving to the next question, Danny?
No, I don't think so. There's so much I want to say about those things, and I wish I could, but it's hard. I'll keep my
Nice.
tongue tied.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So, Danny, now a question that I have for you is, what are some of the foundational changes that we have made inside the UE5 game that will actually help to build into the future, that will help improve overall?
Yeah. So first thing is the gas system, and we kind of mentioned it before. A lot of the work in this year has been converting stuff from the previous year into a more scalable system and more in line with like the network abilities and the replication over the network. And so the gas system, like attributes for ships and the stuff that we brought in for the animation graph for characters, makes it easy for us to add more animations like the jetpacking stuff, and makes it easier to replicate it as well for the ships. So like all the attributes that the designers can put in now for how powerful the weapons are, how powerful your shields are, and that kind of thing, and on a component level, is easy for us to put in input and then replicate over the network. That's a huge thing. It was a major effort from the team. Building out foundational systems for like openable, interactable objects, doors, ramps, desks, toilets, seats on ships, these kinds of things, setting up the pipeline for all of that to be easy to add for artists and designers to tweak and get them to work, not having to do bespoke things for every ship. And then another thing is we because the interactables have been reworked as well. So we used to have like this giant like F to interact thing and kind of like invasive on your screen. That's much more minimal now. You can have multiple things in the same spot where you can F to interact, like in the elevator, for example. You can hit F and then choose a level. So now there's like extra quality of life stuff like that. Like I said, the physics refactor was also another big effort. Setting up all those systems so it's easy to add new ships quickly. So hover mode, yeah, really interested to hear some feedback there, because it's quite polished and really fun to just get around and fly in hover mode. It's cool. And flight mode too has some improvements, and the cameras have improved the experience a lot. Performance improvements across the board make it obviously more enjoyable, and the systems work more appropriately when there's higher performance. Stuff like one of the things you'll be able to see too in the experimental mode toggle is while you won't be able to play with all of them, you'll be able to see some of the different size characters in just kind of like a teasing sort of way, like getting that retargeting for different size characters, because we have really big range from very tiny to like giant characters. And so making that all work, there's been some work on the secondary motion for like the tentacles on the Maurice and like straps. So getting that whole system working, like dangly bits is what we called it. And then for environments too, like right now, the ability to create different environments and have them also be multiplayer and different maps and selectable maps with different modes. That's something we put in. So now we can I'll get into that later, but never mind. So the we'll be able to release maps if we want to get feedback on a certain mode and a certain block out of a map early on that we might want to get feedback before we start putting into full production. And so we can align with your expectations.
Yeah, one of the coolest thing that you mentioned, Danny, I think is the gas system and how it could interact with different environments and maps, and the possibility that it opens up for example, different game modes, right? You can create many different game modes using those configurations. If I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong, Danny.
Yeah, that was kind of something I was going to mention in a little bit. But yeah, this setting up that kind of a system allows us to be more experimental. It's kind of the whole idea behind experimental mode.
Nice. So Danny, I have a follow-up question for all this, and it's a very important one. I really want to emphasize on this one because it's kind of like a follow-up to a question that I made you in the last town hall, kind of like 10 months ago. So when you joined the last town hall and you were speaking about UEFI development, you compared the process of UEFI development that it's like going from crawling to walking to running. And at that moment, you said we were barely crawling. What we all want to know now is where we are at now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my response to that is that we're jogging now. We've gotten so much of these fundamental pipelines worked out, and the refactor, the major features that we need, like interior gravity on ships, for example. So like one person can fly a ship, another player can be in the ship and fly with it, and not just get tossed around like a ping pong ball inside there. So we have all these systems and pipelines set up now. There's really not many more questions about the future development for us to get to where we're going with our vision in Unreal. And so we're at that point now that, like I said, with the ships, we had the ship flight model in there, and we can quickly add, even if it's just a placeholder model, a way for players to interact with it, fly around and shoot and get shot and get blown up and respawn. There's all these different things that once they're in place, it allows us to create like extra game modes, like I was saying with experimental, and just have fun with it. I mean, I was talking with Brad about a deathmatch mode, and he did it in like a day, and he's got it playable because we already have the system set up. And yeah, there's extra work to get it like in full production, but if we can squeeze things out really quickly and let people see that, then we can get feedback. And then the other part about like jogging is like, hey, people were asking about the X6, like how long does it take the X6? It takes a long time the first time you do it. But now we've got other ships in the same manufacturer line where like the R6 come in, we're doing a refactor on the F4, and we're using items like shelves and kitchenette, even the table, lockers, drawers, beds, doors, seats for like the pilot seat. And those are all being used in our R6 and the F4, and it's going so much faster. And it's like head spinning, right? It's going so quick. And we're doing that with all the manufacturers. The Unibomb has got a lot. Now we're seeing the Greenators like speeding up. And we'll just continue to see that. We got the Packlight. The Packlight could be used for some stuff in the ERP, So that's the jogging, and there's only really a couple of big things left. Like the server backend is a big thing that we're working on. It's tracking great. Got some really good tech coming, holding back some fun things. But once we're able to quickly add modes and spin up like servers around these game modes, then we start running. That's when we start running. Some other things like the teams throughout this year and the departments have really settled into a stride. All of our vendors, we don't really see them as like individual vendors that we just outsource things to. We take all the individuals in those vendors and we work them into our teams as if it was team extension. And it's all top down from the directors of each of the departments. And every day there's dailies for all the different departments, and they catch up, and they're all just little teams. It's all just everybody working basically as automata. And yeah, it's been going really well this year. We have like internally we have this really comfortable like video chat system where it's kind of like a bunch of like glass conference rooms, and everyone gets to see everyone else working. It's this really great energy that you get when you see sometimes every single room is full of people just like jamming away. And we've got like 25 rooms in there, and big groups, and it's really fun. So the remote work and the time zone differences have kind of been helped out because of that. Allows for like really quick collaboration. Like Discourse is great for that. And yeah, that's I think there's a lot I can go into, but that's basically the overview. Yeah, team is killing it. It's just going to keep compounding from here with all the stuff that we've already done.
That's awesome, and I just wanted to emphasize on that, Danny, and to explain to the community what we say when we do this analogy of going from crawling to walking to running is how all the different things we're building start to compound on each other to make the UEFI development and the overall Stratless development a lot faster, right, Danny?
Yeah, like I said, with the X6, that was one very clear example where you get a kit bash library of new objects that you built for that, and then you don't want to remake the same like weapons locker. You're just going to put in another ship, use the same one. Makes sense. Yeah, and it looks really great. I can't wait to show the new F4 rework too. That was a fun one.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's incredible. And so, Danny, now that we said we're jogging, let's look forward a little bit into the future, kind of like more bigger picture for the Stratless future, the Stratless products in the future. We wanted to get your take here since you're the chief product officer. How are all the things we are building now going to tie into each other? What's your vision on that?
Sure. Yeah, this it seems like there's a lot of products here, but it's all Star Atlas. It's all using the same economic layer on the blockchain in our market. Everything that you earn or purchase on the marketplace is going to be supported in all these different clients, basically. So if we have something in mobile and web and Unreal, and say, for example, you took a crew member from one of them and you activate it in the client. Now that on-chain progression, no matter where you are, playing with that crew member will have a progressive effect while using it in any of the clients. And so that's kind of the quick way of saying, like, hey, if you want to play on Unreal, you get a more immersive experience, you're going to progress on chain. That's your jam, do it. If you're on the move and you're only have access to a web, maybe you can do some like supply chain movements, more grand strategy type stuff in the web, and maybe that's all you ever want to play. That's fine. Everyone works together. Let's take, for example, season 0. That's going to be a big event where not only do we have like on-chain progression and it's a fully polished public game. We essentially, by getting a lot of people who don't even care about the galactic economy, the supply chain of freighters going from planet to planet that are bringing you these objects that create a local market for you. You may not even know that you go into a shop in season 0 and Unreal that supply actually comes from a real ship that we can follow the history from one planet to another. It was crafted and then turned into this object and then delivered to this store on planet side where you go and upgrade your shield generator or something. But that planet creates it's a local market, right? So people in Sage would see that. Wow, why is there all of a sudden like a lot of market activity right here? I want to start bringing my things here, right? And say you get totally bored of both, or you just want to get out of the house. There's other ways of capturing energy there, and so we don't
Steady,
want
Danny.
people to feel so tied down to one thing. And with this with the blockchain, it makes it possible. So yeah,
That's awesome.
I don't want to leak too much there, but it's all one giant thing, and it's all Star Atlas.
Yeah, I
Wait,
love that vision.
Are
Yeah,
you saying we are Star Atlas?
That's right.
we are Star Atlas, guys. And yeah, so long term, basically everything ties into each other across all the different Star Atlas programs, and this is something that hasn't really been done before, right? Using the power of the blockchain as well for this. Not sure, Michael, putting you on the spot if you want to comment anything on this.
I just want to know, when do we get Slide?
That's the top requested feature, right?
Yeah,
According to the chat.
It's coming.
Awesome.
it's coming.
Yeah.
Nice, Danny.
So before we hop into some Q&A, just a recap, guys. We have R2.1 coming on June 1st. So that's awesome news that Danny dropped here. We also tweeted the video for the Pierce X6, so make sure to go give it some love. And we also just tweeted the Showroom R2.1 date announcement. So make sure I'm posting it. Well, Dominic, you're fast, bro. Nice, nice. So Dominic posted it in the Atlas Amphitheater chat. Make sure to also go give it some love. The picture for that looks incredible. The
Yeah.
picture for that announcement is just clean.
Little call out to Jonathan Berube for pulling that one together. That is, that looks like a movie poster. It looks so cool.
Yeah, looks super cool. So yeah, I think we can do some Q&A now. But before we go to the community Q&A, guys, if you want to ask any questions, raise your hands, and we'll let one or two people on stage to ask some questions.
Man,
But before,
do we even need Q&A? Just like Danny mic drop and let's walk out of here.
just
No,
to
let's
keep the
do.
tradition, man. Just to keep the
Yeah.
tradition.
No, I'm sure there's a lot of
Um,
people that have some questions, comments, so we want to bring them up.
Yeah, but before we hop on the Q&A, I think I'm going to ask the difficult question that it's on some people's mind. Michael, is Star Atlas going to be around in the future?
Yeah. Thanks, Santi.
Yeah, no problem, man.
It is a
Anytime.
question. It is a question that's out there, of course, and it's really unfortunate that this kind of perception and the level of confidence is overshadowing everything that we're accomplishing this year. I'm just going to kind of reverse the question and position it this way, ask a bit of a rhetorical. Have you seen us slow down in any way, in any capacity, over the course of the year? And if I answer that question directly, it's no. It's been the opposite. Our pace has increased. Our excitement, our enthusiasm, and our executables have only improved throughout the year. Nothing slowing down on our side. We have 100% confidence in the future of this vision, in the future of Automata, and the future of this decentralized ecosystem that is Star Atlas. I personally have the utmost confidence that we are not only going to be around in the immediate future, but into the indefinite future. The vision here, again, for anyone who'd never heard me or us say this at some point in the past, is we are building here a new digital society that has the potential to self-evolve. And that is because of the way that the entire system is being architected. It's because of the way that we are opening up access to IP and developing on blockchain that allows other people to build their version of this and their extension of this going forward. So I have, again, 100% confidence that we are going to be around. We've produced far too much value. We are a top project, not only in Web3, not only in crypto, but in Danny's words, we are setting the standards in the gaming industry today. That is recognized. Let me reassure all of you that people recognize the value that we've created here. And you, as the community, are the biggest asset of this ecosystem. How passionate you are, how much you love this, the fact that you attend all the time, that you participate in our events, you participate in our releases, that is incredibly meaningful. And Star Atlas will be around. Do I know what that looks like next year or the year beyond that? No, I don't. But Star Atlas is not going away. I can't put it any more succinctly than that. But we're here, guys, and we're here to stay, and we're going to push this thing and innovate and operate on the bleeding edge. And this is not going away.
Awesome, Michael. Nothing to add there. Just as always, a huge shout out to the community, and nothing will be possible without you guys. And thank you for joining everything, every event we do. Thank you for supporting us everywhere, retweeting, liking, anything. All the support really matters. So just appreciate you all. Appreciate you all. And sorry, Michael, for putting you on the spot like that. That
It's
was a
okay.
revenge for the Sage sneak peeks.
Yeah, I'll remember that, Santi. I'll remember that this weekend. But look, it needed to be addressed. I don't think there's anything else to be said, but I'm very much looking forward to when we can just get past this point, get past that concern that's out there, because you all see what's here right now, and you all know what's coming. So, and we're not going anywhere.
Awesome. Let's take one or two questions here. I see Puck the Pirate raise his hand. So, Puck, I invited you to stage, my friend. Hey, Puck, welcome to stage. Oh, I'm not sure if I'm the only one who can't hear him.
I can't hear him either. And as we wait for his audio to come on, I think obviously prudent. Anytime we have a guest on stage, we do like to have the questions directed at them. We have a very special guest today with Danny, so I'm sure there's questions about UE, but if you can tailor your question to Danny specifically, that would be appreciated. Of course, I'm here and Santi's here. Dom's here to answer questions as well.
Cool. I will invite someone. Oh, Puck, yeah.
Sorry about that. I was still on push to talk from the last chat we were in.
No problem, my friend.
I've got.
To the stage.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I've got two, I guess, kind of pressing questions. Is there a mechanic in Never Alone that accounts for the guild size at the end of the year, or is it just going to be the biggest guild with the most memories wins?
I can jump in on that one. Specifically, there are going to be tiers of various guild sizes. So I don't think we've shared what the loot table looks like or any details on DAC participation yet. But yes, there will be multiple categories based on size of the DAC.
All right, thank you. And then what avenues are the team actively working on to obtain funding that isn't from the current player base?
Yeah, we continue to engage in conversations with a variety of VCs, with family offices, with strategic partners, looking at debt facilities available to us as well. And as I alluded to in an earlier town hall, I think it might have even been the January town hall of this year, we are and have been in advanced negotiations with one such partner, as well as having conversations with again, sensitive to how I answer this, but within the Solana ecosystem itself, having direct conversations as well.
Okay. I really
trust me that it is number one priority on my mind, but nevertheless, all of that being said, even outside of external funding options, I have absolute confidence in the success of Star Atlas.
I do as well. I mentioned it in the amphitheater prior to the town hall that you guys survived FTX when most places would have been like, sorry, major loss, we're done. And you guys continued, you're still here in a bear market. I mean, people keep asking. Like, the only thing I'm asking about is where the funding is coming from. But as far as if Star Atlas is going to be here, that question's already answered to me. So with that, based on my last question, I'd also like to know if you guys are planning on a next Galactic Assets offering event.
We do, and I will be vague on any detail of that. We'll be sharing some details. Actually, coming up very soon on. I am notorious for the leak, so I'm just trying to kind of think before I speak here. But some
Don't
details
do that.
Yeah, just trying to think through some, we'll be sharing some details on a transition of the economy. So that is coming, and these are items that we've talked about for over a year now. So you can expect some information from us on that soon. We also have a few kind of upcoming asset categories that we're looking at as well. So we're very sensitive internally to the demand for assets presently, and we do want to ensure that we roll this out in a stable format when demand for certain assets does exist. But nevertheless, we have quite a comprehensive plan that's already formed, and you can expect some details of that plan, the earliest stages of it, to be coming out soon. And this is something that would kind of continue on for several months at a minimum, and really likely to go on through the course of the year.
Okay, and then my final thing is more of just a yes or a no, I guess. One of the issues that has plagued Star Atlas has been the communication between the team and the community. And this is the second time in a row that a major event has been scheduled to be released or announced within roughly 2 days. It doesn't give us a whole lot of time to be here and to actually participate. So is there any way that the Star Atlas team can work on a more structured and more community-friendly communication system?
While I appreciate the feedback, with all due respect, I completely disagree. I think our communications have been absolutely best in class, particularly within the Web3 space. I think we share more information on a regular basis with our community than just about any other project that's community oriented and most well-established companies. So I think we're doing a fantastic job on communications personally. And we have taken a bit of an approach this year of shortening the timeline between announcements because, as you might appreciate, we also get criticism when we make announcements well in advance, and people think that we're just constantly building up anticipation. So our approach this year is be ready and be present because we're going to roll stuff out. We're going to roll stuff out quickly, and we hope you're here for it.
Okay, and I would like to apologize. I didn't have that question written down. You guys do a fairly good job of communication. It's just with product releases and people getting to participate in these to find out as soon as possible, to prepare as soon as possible, spread the word for Star Atlas. It's just been rough the last 2 months, but you guys are actually very good in this space compared, actually just in general, compared to most people.
Yeah,
I
thank
know.
you. And I'm not trying to be abrasive in my response. What I also believe, just to kind of reinforce the approach for this year, is that even if it is not significant lead time to a release, to an event, not hosting, excuse me, not hosting say 426 events where we hold back content. And we pair all of these things together with a big launch day. Instead of doing that, we're just shipping. And that is the philosophy for this year. We are shipping as quickly as possible, iteratively, and also staggering releases so that there's always something new coming out across product lines within the company. And that's across the game environments. So whether that's in Unreal Engine or in browser, I know people are very excited about the mobile application coming online, but also things like the graphic novel. things like Never Alone. So it's not imperative for us, in my opinion, that we precede any of those events with a big marketing push, because there will be plenty of time in between and following the event for people to actually experience it themselves and help us share that virally.
Thank you. And you're not abrasive in your responses. You're actually very structured, and I appreciate that. My last comment is simply, can you make Dom give me some Ooster content, or Santi? I'd appreciate that.
I'll have to talk to a supervisor.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. Cool. Thank you, Puck. Those were quite some questions, Michael. I think you replied very well. I think it's difficult also to understand externally sometimes how fast we're actually moving internally, and that we like to ship product for the community, right, Michael?
That is the name of the game this year.
So
Well,
yeah.
well, Star Atlas is the name of the game, but yes, we are transitioning our approach to releases this year, and we're trying this out. And if it, depending on how it goes, we'll make adjustments as necessary. But what we're quite good at is being nimble and adapting and working in an agile fashion. And hopefully everyone appreciates what we're putting in here.
Mm-hmm. And just for the next person that joins the stage, if you can please keep it to one question. We all want to ask a lot of questions. I know everyone has a lot of questions for Michael. So when you guys are on stage, I'll appreciate if we can keep it to one question. I don't like to move anyone from stage to audience. So yeah, just wanted to have that. And Michael, what if I'm going to drop the people that had their hands raised now, and let's get one for Danny, right? Before we close.
Yeah, please.
So raise your hand, guys, if you have any questions for Danny in specific. Cool. I see Mandalorian raising his hand. Hey, Mandalorian, welcome to stage. I don't think we can hear him. Probably push to talk.
Yeah, you might also be on push to talk.
Yeah, probably push to talk. Cool. Okay, we'll let someone else in. I invited. Oh, okay,
Can you hear
okay.
me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
I didn't have it on push to talk, but I guess it switched something back. But hey, everybody.
Welcome to stage, Mandalorian.
Danny the man. We miss you.
Hey man, it's good to be back.
I just gotta say, that was a content overload in a good way.
Yeah, so much stuff.
I got a
That's good.
question for you.
Yeah.
With the optimizations of 2.1, have you guys made adjustments to customizing settings, keybinds, sensitivity for flying, and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean all the keybinds for keyboard you can adjust. Gamepad, no, unfortunately. Not yet. But it's all coming, but yeah, not quite there. Hopefully you can rely on your if you have a good gaming mouse to quickly change sensitivity for now.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, we appreciate all the content you guys are putting out, and I don't know what in the F kit Buddy was talking about, but I think you guys are doing a bang up job, and we love you.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Thank you,
No hard.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, thanks, Mendo. No hard feelings at all. That's why we're here, and that's why we take questions at the end, because we're an open book.
Cool.
I see.
One more question.
I think we got to get it, because we haven't had enough hard questions. Our good buddy Signal is out there with his hand raised. So
we invited you to stage, Signal. Hey, Signal friend, welcome. There's probably
Hey, can
something.
you guys hear me?
Oh, yeah, perfect, man. Welcome to stage, my friend.
Awesome. Holy cow, man, Pac. Jesus, that was incredible. I was about to say, Michael probably thought I was tough, until he called on Bach. That was amazing. But I had a question for Danny. Clearly, there's been a ton of updates in 2.1. The game mode that I'm most excited about, of course, is dogfighting. Could you speak to some of the changes in the waves and mechanics for the NPC enemies that we're going to be encountering in the dogfighting mode?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. So I mentioned earlier that you can play like with any ship now. There is still some, the bigger ships have more firepower, but they also don't maneuver as quickly. So there's some balancing mechanisms there. There's a lot of new feedback on the HUD. So the way you target and send off missiles and the hit feedback has changed. The targeting element is now like you actually see the 3D ship, and it's not just an image, and you'll see it like turning around, which is cool. The waves are actually much harder. But again, we wanted to see that how different ships of different strength perform. But off the top of my head, I actually haven't beaten it yet, so I don't know how many waves there are. Chip will be able to answer that. It was just recently changed from Brad, so I haven't actually been able to go and beat everything yet, and we don't have a god mode, so I have to play it normally. Chip says 10. He thinks it's new to him too, so it's all like fresh changes. So yeah, that's primarily it. We tried to get to be co-op and to enable it for PvP as well. Didn't quite make it into this cut, but we're trying to at least use that as a quick way to test those kinds of things.
That's awesome. I can't wait for, two-foot attack essentially at UE5.
Yeah.
If I could ask one quick little tweak on top of that. You said there were going to be enhancements to multiplayer for 2.1. Not that everything was fixed, but some things had been tweaked or optimized, I believe. Could you speak to that a little more on what we could expect, just so we're not marching off a cliff going, oh my God, the multiplayer's been optimized, what should we expect realistically walking into that day one, June 1st, on 2.1?
Sure. Yeah. The thing is, we still have to do the P2P, like player hosting, which means ping is usually high, and that leads to just issues by itself. But we have made some improvements. For example, like the draw distance of characters is much further, and 12 waves. Thanks, Chip. And so we've been able to like sync up that kind of replication better. Just a lot more items that are replicated. There were issues where like the host can do things, but the people who join can't see it, or they can't do it, like hopping on ships even was an issue. So a lot of that stuff has been fixed. There are still things that are present because we're in parallel working on a proper backend server architecture, that all that stuff is being worked into that system. And so we want to give you enough so it's not like a totally broken experience. But that's, in the next big updates, that's when everything's going to be really smoothed out and properly structured. So yeah, I do want to manage expectations there. There's still going to be some hiccups, but it's playable.
Awesome. Really excited for what you guys built. Obviously, you blew us all away with saying that every single ship was going to be flyable as of June 1st. I mean, we're talking the other side of the weekend. This is amazing. Thank you guys so much, and thank you for your time.
Signal, we have one question for you because the community wants to know.
Let's do it.
When are you going to buy a ship that you don't sell a week later?
Probably around the same time that I switched from an iPad to a PC. I'd say in 426.
Okay, fair enough.
Good answer. Good answer.
Have a good one, guys.
Thank you,
Take care.
Signal Man. Awesome. So I think we're over an hour and a half, very well past our hour and a half. So it's a good moment to close here. Before we close, just a quick recap. We went through some news, some metrics on our own, metrics on scale velocity, learnings from scale velocity, what's coming next for Sage, what's coming for the DAO, which are a lot of updates on that front, and looking forward to the debates. Lots of updates on R2.1, and we actually have Showroom R2.1 coming very, very soon. So next week, June 1st, for Showroom R2.1. So big news. We also had some little conversation about the future with Danny, and I think overall it was one of the best townhalls we ever had. We shared the video of the Pierce X6 that we just posted on Twitter. I'll post the link again in the Atlas Amphitheater, so make sure to give it a retweet, like, comment. It really helps, and just to spread the word of Star Atlas. And I don't think I missed anything, Michael, right? Please let me know if I missed anything.
Nope, that was great. I've seen the question come up a couple times. Dates for Sage. Again, we're really not sharing any dates. What I will just restate here. Very excited about we're sharing a date for 2.1 because that is coming next week. But the next release from that will be a DAO release, and then the next release after that will be the subsequent Sage release. So at least you guys kind of know the order of operations. But I'm gonna leave it at that. I think this was a fantastic town hall. Danny, thanks for joining us. Dom, thanks for supporting with all of the content sharing, and Santi, always a pleasure being up here with you, hosting this event.
Pleasure is mine, Michael. And yeah, anything to close? Anything you want to say to close, Danny, my friend?
No, thanks. Yeah, feelings mutual. This was awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for joining, man. It's always a pleasure to have you on stage. The committee loves hearing from you.
I love the community. Thanks, guys.
Nice.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and thanks to everyone in the audience for showing up with us. You stuck around to the end, so I assume you were not just here for the Never Alone code.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. So this was Atlas Townhall 39. Lots of content to be digested. Looking forward to all the videos from the creators. See you on the next one, guys. Ciao,
Have a
ciao.
great weekend, everyone.
Yeah.
Power to the people.
And stick it to the man. See you, everyone.